You have a longer historical context here. Put these particular talks into that context. How important or unimportant, not so important, are these talks today?
Well, negotiating with any country is really part of a process. And with China, some of the issues that we see on the table today are ones that I was actually negotiating 20 years ago. But the important thing about this is, one, that in January, as we looked at U.S.-China relations, many were predicting that by this time there would be a trade war between the two countries, and certainly that's not happening. Coming out of Mar-a-Lago, the two presidents have been able to establish a personal relationship which has set the foundation for the overall bilateral relationship in the tenure. And I think what's really important about these talks is that they have created, again, going back to the model that Hank Paulson had as Treasury Secretary, a dialogue that's focused specifically on the economic issues. I think the administration has been very smart to keep expectations very modest for what is going to come out of these talks, because it's very hard to make significant progress in a short period of time with China. But what they've been able to do is build up momentum through this early harvest of initial, minor but important agreements that they were able to reach in May. And on the agenda, they have very important structural issues like the overcapacity one. And while that's not going to make a significant difference in the bilateral trade deficit, it was a signature issue of the Trump campaign.
Well, as you said, Deborah, these are modest or minor, what we've seen so far. What should we realistically set our expectations so we don't over-expect about what might come out of these talks? And is that a matter of cosmetics, or is there real substance involved?
Well, it's important in any negotiation to try and create some positive momentum, and you have to also build some trust between the two sides, which was very important given the state of U.S.-China relations coming into the new administration. And what they have been able to do is create that through these early harvests and through the discussions that they're having. But hopefully and I do think that there'll be a chance of reaching an agreement on overcapacity that will both be bilateral between the U.S. and China, but a call for other countries to join on. The administration has also said that they want to see some progress on North Korea. That's a much harder issue, and while it clearly is a foreign policy issue, there are economic steps that China can take in its trade with North Korea. And there are a handful of other issues on the table. So I think we might see some modest gains.